Welcome back to the Formation Lap with Todd and Brad. And this past weekend, we saw a Canadian Grand Prix that was super exciting. It was full of drama, and we're going to recap it here on the Formation Lap. And Todd, welcome back. We got to enjoy the race together on Sunday.
Yeah.
High drama, high intensity. Todd, give us a couple of quick thoughts about what we saw in Montreal.
Yeah, so we thought we would and Brad, it's good to be back again. Yeah, but we thought we'd see rain. We didn't see rain. We saw a great sprint, and what an exciting qualifying
Hmm.
that we had. And then I mean, if you didn't get to watch it because it was biting on nails, at times because watching the two Mercedes guys go at it and
Yeah.
some of the decisions that were made, but nobody saw rain. And I thought it was a great race for being Canada. There's always something that is crazy about Canada. And we saw a little bit of that, but we didn't see as much as we thought. But it was an exciting race for those that like the ones that finished on the podium. Others might not have enjoyed it as much, but I'm telling you, the first 30 laps
Yeah.
was crazy. So it was exciting, just as exciting as Miami, just in a very narrow and, as we said, gambling type place. And we'll talk a little bit about it. But we saw where Kimmy and some others really gambled. But
Hmm.
Brad, who do you think walked out as your top three winners?
My top three winners. I'm gonna go with two drivers and then a team here. Number one to me, Todd, would have to be Lewis. Lewis,
Yeah.
benefited a little bit from some cars in front of him at the start, of course, going on the wrong strategy. But Lewis really did a great job of chasing down Max there and getting a P2. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. He did really, really well. Number two for me would have to be Isaac. We talked about in
Yeah.
our pre-race build-up episode that Isaac has at times looked good, but he's really struggled. It seems like on race day, and Isaac needed to put together a good race. He did that. He kind of had to battle through for getting a couple of penalties. We saw him moving under braking some, but he overcame that. And Todd, I think a lot of people forget he's in one of the big teams, but he's still
Yeah.
only in his second full season as a F1 driver. So he's still learning. He's still very, very young. So I thought it was a big win for Isaac. And then finally, my constructor winner, Todd, to me, this has to be Alpine. We saw Franco with a very impressive
Yeah.
P6, Pierre Gasly with a very impressive P8. Todd, I mean, we're talking about they are right on the heels of Red Bull here, challenging for fourth in the constructors, and it was a really little bit of a tough sprint race for them on Saturday, but they came back in the race and looked fantastic. I'm gonna tell you, if Franco keeps putting in these performances,
Yeah.
there's gonna be some teams that are gonna keep their eye on him to look to sign. So that'd be mine. I'll turn it over to you. Your winner, your big winners from the Canadian Grand Prix.
Yeah, Brad, I enjoyed watching it with you. We got to watch it on Eastern time zone, so that's
Mm-hmm.
always good. But
Yep.
I saw the winners here. I agree with you on Lewis. He finally came through, and if you watched our show before, I was thinking Charles might figure it out, and boy, he didn't. But I thought Lewis did, and he hung in and took advantage of what he felt comfortable in the car. So definitely Lewis. I think if you look at it back and forth. I think Max did show up,
Mm-hmm.
and he complained a lot here and there in the qualifying, but I think he finally got a car that he felt comfortable with,
Mm-hmm.
and then he was able to show it, and he didn't lose any ground, even though when Lewis finally caught up with him, it was more of the tires, right?
Yeah.
And Lewis was able, but then they stuck together. And then I think if you look at it, you talked about Isaac. I think Red Bull, in my opinion, was one of
That's
the
a good
constructor
one.
winners because they both were able to perform this time, and I think they found their groove, might you say? And I'm with you. Alpine's not far behind, right? But I think Red
Mm-hmm.
Bull finally showed up with both
Mm-hmm.
players here. So Brad, it was good. There was
Yeah.
other winners there. Carlos was another one that showed up. And Franco, we talked about Franco. So I think those were great, but I mean, Brad, some of the losers I saw, constructors just right out of the bat, your team, McLaren.
No, man, yeah.
Oh, and they struggled. And if you watch the tarmac or the whatever you want to the grid, it was wet, and
Yeah.
the wind was going, but you and I both were like, "What?" when we saw the intermediate tires, and folks, what that means, they put on some wet tires that they thought it was going to be wet, and everybody else, other than about four other drivers, had slick. So, unfortunately, I think they were one. Limblad, he had an
Hmm.
opportunity, and unfortunately, I think he lost out to be able to perform because I think he was making those slow moves, and then finally, I don't think it was George's fault, but he
No.
he, he lost and his car gave out. I think the Mercedes team lost out, might you say, because they brought some upgrades and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
lost out, and so I think it's really not George, but the team.
Hmm.
That battery fell. Okay, and that's what happened, and unfortunately, but that's where mine was. What about you, Brad? What was some of your losers?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to hit on. I'm going to agree with you here on just one, and that's McLaren, just because that's my team. I'm still a diehard fan. I'm going to support them. But Todd,
Yeah,
I mean, like we said, we were watching the race together Sunday, and I my mouth dropped when they said that both Lando and Oscar were on intermediate tires, and I was just sitting there frustrated. I knew our race was over before it started, and Todd, it was weird. We were watching. They had to do two formation laps because Lindblad's car just gave out on
yeah,
right there at the start. So it was just like everyone's tires were getting cold, and we just saw. But even that, the track was just drying up and drying up, and it's crazy because Lando got that great start because you could tell George and Kimmy were both very cautious going to the start, and Lando did get a great start, but I mean you knew that those tires just they were not going to last in dry conditions. We heard Oscar was complaining the whole way through that he thinks they need to go on slicks, and I will say I was frustrated. Oscar and Lando both started to make their way up. Oscar had a really really unfortunate penalty. He was trying to be aggressive, but
yeah,
had a really unfortunate penalty. Lando was in the points, and then he had a gearbox issue. So very very frustrating day for my team. We're close. I think on our best day, Todd, it's our two teams. It's McLaren and Ferrari right there behind Mercedes, but got to put
yeah.
it together. Two other losers for me. Todd, and this may be a little bit of a surprise to some people, but I'm going to say Alex Albon. Look,
I do. Yeah, I agree.
he Carlos continues to be consistent. He continues to score points. If Albon continues to be stuck in the no points in this case, I mean, he didn't even finish the race. He's going to be on his way out, and I mean,
Yeah,
he's Williams have been. It's been tough for them. They're starting to figure things out. They've got a Mercedes power unit. They got a Mercedes engine, but Todd, I mean, to me, Alex Albon has got to figure things out. Um, and,
yeah, I
and
agree.
then
And I had Alex as my on my fantasy team.
right, right,
I
right,
thought he would come back, but yeah,
yeah, and then I think finally for me, I was a little bit I'm not saying he's a full full loser, or didn't meet our expectations. Little bit of a tough day for Charles. I thought
yeah,
he never could quite find the pace that obviously Kimmy had, but he hasn't found the pace that Lewis has had. Todd, I mean, we were both of the opinion that it seems like Charles is just a little bit more comfortable. But I'm gonna tell you, Lewis for the first time in his Ferrari career, I thought he looked like the better driver out of the two. So, little bit of a frustrating weekend for Charles, and I think he's gonna figure it out. The next upcoming race, which we're not going to get to because we'll save that for our preview next week, but it's his home race next time out, and that may be a
that's
little bit
right.
of maybe a little bit of a race for Charles to get some things right and clean some things up. But I'm excited. But yeah, super exciting Canadian Grand Prix. Obviously, Todd, we see Kimmy extends his lead. I will say the Mercedes, they did score overall the most points in the constructors. But it was it was tied at the same time. Just looking at the standings here, Mercedes scored 39 for the weekend, Ferrari 37, McLaren 12, and then Red Bull was a big gainer with 27 points on the weekend. So super exciting, super exciting Canadian Grand Prix. Todd, final thoughts before we kind of wrap up here.
Yeah, and the Canadian circuit showed us, some of the under the hood, might you say,
Yeah.
on some things because I think going back to Charles and Lewis, Lewis loves this course, this
Hmm.
track, and Charles hates it. And they
Hmm.
they really had the same cars.
Yeah.
And so, because if you look at Charles in Miami, he was doing great until he wrecked, and
Hmm.
Lewis wasn't. So, I think it's just like you said, it's going to be something that they can take away from. They were able to
Yeah.
find out. And again, we have not seen them run on any of the wet tires. So
Mm-mm.
taking it away, we just don't know yet
No.
what that's going to be. But overall, I think it was a fun race. Mercedes, yep, pulled it off, but there was some excitement. After lap 30, there were some of the racers in the lower midterm or whatever you want to call them. They were doing well, but folks, you're about ready to see another street track that is unique in itself. So I think going from Miami to Canada was a good
Yeah.
mix, but now
Yeah.
they're really going to go into something tight. But overall, it's been a great year so far. It has been interesting as can be,
For
and we
sure.
didn't think it would be this way. We thought it would be all related to the batteries and the
Yeah.
overtakes, and so the strategies have changed. But Brad, it's been fun. So thanks for doing this. What's your final thoughts on this?
My final thoughts, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Is we still get to see the wet tires. We don't know how that's going to perform. Um, man, I think my biggest takeaway is, man, this. I don't think George and Kimmy are bitter enemies, but man, they are going after it hard right now, and it's
Yeah,
going to be fun. And um, I'm a huge Kimmy fan just because I like him. He's 19 years old. Todd, we were saying we hope we get 20 more years of this kid in Formula One. That's
I
exciting.
agree.
It's exciting to think about. If he continues this, he's going to go down as one of the greatest of all time. Um,
Yeah, we
he's
could be seeing something that
a-
we didn't get to
absolutely,
see with Lewis way back when or whatever.
absolutely. I mean, Todd, we're talking about though for the rest of this season, and it starts next week in Monaco. George is, we saw the gloves come off in the sprint race and the race. George's back is against the wall now because he just had a DNF and he knows that he's got to make up some serious. He's got to start putting in P1s and in consecutive weeks very soon here, or Kimmy's going to really start to widen
Yeah.
that gap in the championship. So it's going to be exciting. Once again, thank you so much for all the support here. We absolutely love talking Formula One. It's such a passion of ours. So thank you for the continuous support. We're going to see you next week as we preview Monaco. You don't want to miss that one. It's not the most exciting track, but we never know with these new cars what we're going to get. So be on the
And
lookout.
qualifying.
And qualifying.
Qualifying at
Yes,
Monaco is really exciting.
absolutely. Good point, Todd. So be on the lookout next week as we do our Monaco Grand Prix. But please give this video a like, comment on what you thought. What was your thoughts in Canada? We saw a very exciting Canadian Grand Prix, and please, we'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And appreciate the support. Please give our channel and subscribe. It helps us a lot. We're just trying to continue to grow the sport of F1. But this is Todd and Brad on the Formation Lap signing off.